Hey guys, welcome back to Family Talk with Layoh. My name is Layoh. On this channel, I talk about parenting, relationship, and everything in between. If my content resonates with you, please subscribe, turn on notification, comment, share, and like with your family and friends. So in today's video, I will be sharing 10 signs of autism in children. Please watch to the end. This video, I tell you, will be very interesting. And if you are interested in autism and you want to know more about autism, you can also check out my video on understanding autism. I will post the link above or in the description. You can check it out after this video. So let's get right into it. Autism is a neurological and a developmental disorder that affects children. Some children are diagnosed very early and some later in years, maybe when they are 10, 11, and some are even diagnosed when they are teenagers. Yeah, but these days it's very easy to diagnose autism. So I'll be sharing a few signs that maybe your child is going through one of these. You can use that to determine whether it's time to see a pediatrician or a child psychologist. But also bear in mind that your child showing one or two of these does not necessarily mean your child is autistic. The best way to know if your child is autistic is to take your child to the hospital for a diagnosis. That way you can know what to do and when to start therapy. The earlier you start therapy for your child, the better it will be for that child to eventually live an independent life, or at least live independently to some extent. So yeah, number one, children with autism avoids eye contact. I can tell you this as a mom to an autistic boy. When my child was very young, it does not keep eye contact. It does not maintain eye contact with people, especially with strangers. Although now it's much better with therapy and everything. It could keep eye contact with me for 2-3 minutes, especially if I'm doing something fun and enjoying it. So children with autism don't maintain eye contact. If you try to look at them, they just take their eyes away from you or just ignore you and they don't respond to you. Yeah, so number two, they don't respond to their name by their first birthday. This is very common with children with autism. But also bear in mind that if your child is not responding to their name by their first birthday, don't totally assume that your child is autistic. Your child might be having an hearing impairment and you need to take them to the hospital for a checkup to know that their hearing is fine before you can now start exploring other possibilities. But that is also one of the key things for an autistic child. My son was 2 before he started responding. Oh no, 2.5 years before he started responding to his name, and now he responds to his name very well. So like I said, everything is possible with therapy, and the best time is to start it very early on. 3, they prefer to be alone. Children with autism like to stay by themselves. They like to play by themselves. They don't want anybody disturbing them. They just like to do their own things. That doesn't mean we don't have neurotypical children that prefers to stay by themselves. Some children are just introvert and they just like to play by themselves. So your child being a loner, likes to be by themselves, does not necessarily mean your child is autistic. I'm just giving you this sign so that you could check it out and see if in case you're having any suspicions that your child is having a developmental delay. Number 4, they avoid or reject physical contact. Most children with autism don't like to be touched. They don't like to be hugged. So I tell people, when you meet a child who is autistic, don't approach them first. Don't be the first one to initiate contact with them. You can wait to see if the child will come to you. If they don't come to you, leave them alone. Whenever I'm going out with my son and I see people trying to maybe play with him sometimes, I just tell them, please leave him alone. He doesn't like it when you just touch him unnecessarily. He's not comfortable in the midst of strangers. It's that simple. So also bear in mind that all these things that I'm saying, like I've been saying, it's not necessarily related to autism alone. Yeah, number 5, they don't respond to facial expression. I remember very well when my child was 1, 2, people around me keep saying, this boy is going to grow up to be a soldier boy, because it does not smile. No matter what it is you do, like the slightest thing I do for my daughter and she's like, oh, I'm laughing and giggling as if no, someone is tickling her. My son will just look at you like, and he walks away. And we're like, are you serious? Like, there is nothing we do. You would not just laugh. Like, he doesn't just understand what you're doing. I'm sure someone in his brain is like, what are these people doing? Like, are you guys that jobless? Yeah. So most autistic children don't respond to facial expression. Of course, now it does, but not to a very large extent. Number 6, they might experience delayed speech and language skills. So commonly, children with autism have issues with communication and language skills. Like they don't speak very well. Some of them speak in robotic tones, but that doesn't mean this will be forever. Like I said, with therapy, everything can eventually work out. Number 7, they don't use or they rarely use gestures like pointing, waving. For example, neurotypical children will want something and they say, "Mommy, I want that. Mommy, bye bye. Daddy, bye bye." But children with autism rarely do that. They don't wave, and even when you wave back at them, they don't respond to you. They just, just go away or do their own thing. So they don't point. So if you typically want something and they are used to you, they probably will just come grab your hand and take you to wherever it is that they want the thing and try to stretch your hand to like get it for them, but they won't point and say, "Give me that" or "Bring that to me." Number 8, they might be fixated on certain activity or object. I think this is one thing that is commonly known with children with autism. When you ask like a typical person and said, what do you know about autism? They say, they like to line things up, they like to arrange things. Yeah, so they are fixated on things. For my little boy, he's fixated on doors. Like, he can't leave any door in this house open. He will close it immediately. Like, sometimes he won't even wait for you to leave the room when he will close the door. If you are not careful, say, you can close your hand with the door. He's fixated on cars. He likes cars and blocks, and he likes to line it up like perfectly. Everything has to be lined up perfectly. For other kids, there are like different things they are fixated on. Some of them are fixated on walking on a particular way, fixated on a teddy bear, on a blanket. So there are so many things children with autism can be fixated on. Also bear in mind that autism children are not the same. My son is autistic, but if I meet another person that is autistic, I don't expect them to share the same similarities. Fine, they might have some things that are similar, but then just like the way you and I are different, same thing with autistic children. So not all autistic children are the same. Some might have some of these things that I'm mentioning, and some might not have and have a total different different symptoms. 9, they are extremely sensitive to touch, light, and sound. Like I said, this is another one popular thing. Most people will tell you, children of autism don't like loud noise, they don't like loud sounds, they don't like light. It's like it affects them and they start crying. But then it is not all of them. Some children are mixed sensory. Mostly children that are extremely sensitive to light, sounds, and touch, they have oversensory disorder. So these things are like too much for them. Then some have undersensory disorder that they even like it when the TV is loud. They like to put on the whole light in the room and they like to be touched. And we have some kids that are mixed sensory. For example, now my son is mixed sensory. He doesn't like sound when the vacuum is on or someone is making a construction sound somewhere. He gets really upset and is looking for places to, he blocks his ear, and then he comes to hug me just to like calm himself down. But he likes to be hugged a lot. Like, he comes and he hugs you. When he meets a new person, he's touching your face. He likes to be hugged, like, very much. When he sees light, he's not disturbed by it. He just keeps staring at it. So he is mixed sensory. So don't just assume that every autistic child out there is extremely sensitive to light. And that brings us to the last one. They might have repetitive behavior. What do I mean by repetitive behavior? There are some particular behaviors that children with autism will always do. It's called steaming. For example, you see some children always flapping their hands. They just by themselves. Oh, they're playing by themselves and they're just flapping their hands. Some of them they're rocking. They keep going like this by themselves, and you find some they just swirl around. They keep going in circle and in circle, and some is jumping, and some is their eyes. They keep rolling. Some grinds their teeth. So they do this like regularly. It's called repetitive behavior. So from all these things that I've said, if your child is exhibiting at least more than 5 or 6 or 7 of these signs, then fine, you should take your child for diagnosis. Your doctor or your pediatrician will give you a hem chart for you to fill out, and based on the scores, whatever score your child has on the hem chart, they refer him to a psychologist. And of course, they also rule out other developmental disorder before they now decide on autism. Every child that has been diagnosed with autism, they have to meet a particular criteria before they can be diagnosed. And the earlier you get a diagnosis for your son, the earlier you can apply for therapy for that boy, and the better it will be for your son. And if your child has been diagnosed with autism, you should not worry. You're not the only parent out there. There are millions of parents with children with autism. I'm one of them. There are plenty of organizations where you can go and get information on autism and how to help your child, and how both you and your family can help each other and help that boy to be who is meant to be. So I've come to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share with your family and friends. And if you want to know more about children with autism, you can also check out my video on understanding autism. I'll put the link above. Click on it, watch and learn more about children with autism and how to also help them. So thank you, and until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.